but also the size, how the size can make a difference. If you've got a bit that's, and we always think better too wide than too narrow, obviously, but it brings a different list of problems.
Yeah, that's a very good.
As someone who's pulled a bit, I had a memorable moment at a client's yard showing a horse to someone, and the bit actually, I had a cheek piece in the horse's mouth, and the bit was sitting here, and I was smiling as it ran away with me back to the stables.
So this is a very good question, and I'm going to answer it in two parts. So first of all, the width of a bit, okay, and what's the right one for your horse. So first of all, because that's also usually the first question, is how do you measure it again? So you measure it from inside the bit ring to inside the bit ring. That's how, when the factory gives the measurement of a bit, that's how it's measured. All right, now, traditionally, we used to refer to bits in inches, okay? A lot of riders still do it, but bits are no longer manufactured in inches. No, none of the major bits
broken away from colonialism.
We have. Yeah. Well, yes, or Americanism. They still refer to it in inches, but which is actually a good thing, and I'll tell you why. For two reasons. One is because if we made bits in, let's go for the 5 and 5.5 inch. My analogy is that would be like it's a size 6 and 8 shoe. And if you're a size 7, we're terribly sorry, but either go for too small or too big, but that's all we can do. So now bits are made in centimeter, in half centimeter increments. So you can get as small as a 9 centimeter bit, 9.5, 10, 11, and so it goes up.
So 9 centimeter bit for a great day.
That's the thinnest, the smallest one ever was for a miniature pony.
Okay.
So
and they're evil, so they needed it definitely.
So first of all, so that's how they're made now in half centimeter increments. So we can be very specific in the fit. Yeah. So now, what is this specific fit? So because that's the other thing I get a lot of. If I'm asked about bits, I invariably get said my horse is a 5.5 inch. Which is essentially also like saying that everybody in the world has a size 6 shoe. That's it, which they don't. Okay, horses can vary a lot in the width of their mouths. So we can actually measure that now. And for example, you can I've had ponies that I've measured that had wider mouths than 17-hand warm bloods. So just because your horse is physically tall doesn't mean it's got a big mouth. So there is so much variation there. So as a ballpoint, most horses range from in and around about 12.5 to about 14.5 centimeters. That's a very ballpark, but here's where it gets interesting. If you're fitting your horse in a loose ring bit, any kind of loose ring bit, okay, where the ring slides through the mouthpiece, we need to give clearance of that hole in the mouthpiece, okay? Because we don't want it to pinch.
The corners of the lips.
Exactly. Okay. So we would literally want, I don't know if that can be seen, but we'd literally want the corners of the lips to be just off that opening so that we don't get pinching. All right, on both sides.
Like you said, your really fleshy lipped horses, you would have to really think about giving them some extra space.
But never more than the diameter of that little gap. Okay, because then we end up with too much of the bit sticking out.
Okay.
All right, on both sides, obviously. We want clearance on both sides. So if I measured your horse at a 12 centimeter mouth, for example, I would bit that horse in a loose ring bit in a 13 centimeter wide bit. That's to give basically half centimeter on either side to give clearance of those rings.
Okay, but if it was an egg butt snaffle?
If it was an egg butt, we actually want the bit to sit flush with the horse's cheeks.
Okay.
So, with the corners of the lips. So, I would fit the same horse in an egg butt in at least half a centimeter, even a centimeter smaller.
So you're not going to have, it's not a universal
size. And if we were to put that same horse, so this is a little bit of probably of interest to dressage riders when it comes to your double bridle and curve and the curve in the bradoon. If we have a bit that has a fixed mouthpiece and fixed cheek pieces, it would even be smaller. Okay. So then if I measured the horse at 12 centimeters, it could even go in a 12 centimeter bit or 125, 12.5 at most. Because When you put a jointed bit in a horse's mouth, as soon as it's in, it changes its shape like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that makes it slightly narrower. So the exact same horse can have different bits, and they can differ by as much as 1.5 centimeters. Even I've had cases of 2 centimeter difference in the bit, depending on which bit I'm
That's
fitting.
really interesting.